Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairman and CEO of the Interface Group and founder of Comdex, Sheldon G. Adelson.
Welcome to today's Comdex keynote. As I mentioned at the opening of the show yesterday, we have not one, not two, but 3 keynotes at this year's Comdex Fall. The reason is simple. You can only admire the view from one summit at a time. Each of our keynoters represents a major part of information technology. Yesterday was Bill Gates and the world of applications. Tomorrow it's Andy Grove and the microprocessor. Today it's the network. If you opened up a dictionary and turned to the word network, you'd find it defined as, quote, an interconnected or interrelated group or system. At Comdex, networking has 2 definitions. The first is attendees meeting with attendees, exhibitors networking with exhibitors, and exhibitors networking with attendees. That's the human network of Comdex. The other kind of networking is on a whole other level. That's the networking that represents the infrastructure of today's corporate computing environment. The networking that provides the links for sending information across the nation, across the hallway, through the enterprise, and all around the world. The second kind of networking, just like the first, also happens everywhere at Comdex, both in our network computing showcase and our ISDN solution showcase, as well as throughout the show. There are more than 400 networking companies and hundreds more with connectivity products that you'll want to see. We know that for most people who come to Comdex, networking is one of their major technology areas of interest. That's why Comdex is the largest networking show, and that's why this morning I'm very pleased to be introducing the man who now represents the leading edge of networking. Last spring, he became the new chairman and chief executive officer of the world's #1 networking company. His experience as general manager of Hewlett-Packard's Personal Information Products Group and his extraordinary vision of what our interconnected world is coming to makes him uniquely qualified to be the leader of a leader. Today, he's going to talk about the notion of pervasive computing and how networking is extending the enterprise beyond its traditional boundaries. All you have to do is look around to see that networking is certainly pervasive at Comdex. You know, the past chairman of Novell, Ray Norder, spoke at Comdex here several years ago, and he talked about how important it was to have networking be a big focus at Comdex, and how we look forward to working with our company, the Interface Group, to bring more and more networking opportunities networking opportunities to the show. So let me say to this new man at Novell, the feeling is more mutual than it ever was. I would also suggest that with his energy, vitality, and leadership, his company will continue to be the universally recognized leader in network computing. Comdex is proud to welcome the new era at Novell. Its new president, CEO, and chairman of the board, Bob Frankenberg. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon. Good morning. It's great to be here. As Sheldon just said, there are 2 levels of networking. If you look at life, at society, at culture, at the world, what you see is people interacting with other people. You see people working and playing, learning, exchanging ideas and exchanging information. They exchange goods and services. At the core of all this interaction is people communicating with other people. In other words, networking. When you hear people talking about the information highway, they're talking about networks. Let's not kid ourselves. Computing without networking is like cars without roads. Novell, more than any other company, is the networking company. With Unix and NetWare, Novell has established connections for nearly 70 million people to their networks. That's more than the number of U.S. homes that are connected to cable television. I'm really excited to be leading Novell at this particular point in time. At the point in time that the network represents the threshold to a completely new era, an exciting and vibrant era for all of us, an area that we've come to call pervasive computing. Actually, pervasive computing is something that I've been working on and working toward all my life. It's more than connecting information systems and devices together. That's the way we've always thought about it. It's actually a lot more than that. It's connecting people with other people and connecting them to the information that they need. And perhaps most important, providing them the ability to act on it anytime and any place. People are either getting excited or concerned about the possibilities. It's already been said that if you're not someone at somewhere.com, you're nobody. That's probably a little bit too strong, but I think it will be a reality in the future, probably in the near future. Business Week also recently reported that eventually networks will shift the computer industry's center of gravity away from the desktop. Over time, networks will take computing everywhere. Novell and its many partners agree with this point of view, and that's what we're working on now. Our goal of pervasive computing, and it's truly amazing. The best news is that we don't have to wait for the year 2005. Like objects in your rearview mirror, it's a lot closer than you think. Let me touch on a few things that I think supports this point of view. Through Corsair, our advanced client, we will broaden the network to allow anyone to access their NetWare network, AT&T Network Connect services, and the internet. Simpler, as you'll see in a few minutes, than operating your desktop PC. Through Nest, NetWare Embedded Systems Technologies, our partners will extend NetWare into faxes, into copiers, vending machines, telephones, PBXs, set-top boxes, cable modems, security devices, client control. If it's intelligent, Nest will connect it to the network. With Network Connect and NCS, NetWare will be available wherever you go. On the road, in your hotel room, in the air, at your clients, at school, home, government, bank, brokerage. No place is going to be safe from connection to information. It will actually know you, and it'll bring your environment and your information to you with full security. It will bring the services of all of those institutions to you wherever you are. Through SuperNOS, we have already begun to unite the proven strengths of NetWare and UNIXWare to deliver the server of tomorrow, today. Manageable, economical, powerful, the right-sizing server. Our partners, horizontal and vertical applications, working in conjunction with Perfect Office and our group-wise platform, will integrate the network, empowering people to interact with other people and with information in whole new ways. Our partners, including many of the people in this room, will encounter a whole new set of opportunities rather than dead ends controlled by a few. Together, I think we will change the meaning of PC by making computing an integral part of everyone's daily lives. We'll change personal computing to pervasive computing. If we take all of this together, it is pervasive computing. Connecting people with other people and the information that they need and giving them the power to act on that information anytime and any place. To illustrate this today, I'm going to break a Comdex Keynote tradition by including people directly impacted by what we'll discuss as an integral part of my presentation. We went out and asked consumers, business users, MIS managers, resellers, and developers what questions they'd ask if they were here, what they'd like me to talk about.
Nice to talk to you, Bob. I know why networking is important to business and commerce, but here at the house, my computer is just for me and for Paul and for the kids, so why should I care about networking?
Well, Maureen, it's going to get really exciting really soon for home users. Nearly 60 million homes in the U.S. are connected with cable systems. These are really one-way local area networks. They provide the ability to view video broadcasts. Just this morning, in fact, about a half hour ago, General Instrument, the world's largest cable system provider, and Novell announced that network technology will be used to make high-performance, two-way local area networks available to the 30 million U.S. homes with personal computers. Yes. By combining General Instrument expertise in cable systems and Novell's networking expertise, we'll provide cable operators with network servers and an easy upgrade that will allow them to move their plants to being two-way local area networks. Network servers will provide the set of services, and with an inexpensive cable box, consumers will access those services ranging from simple shared file and backup. Most of you probably don't back up your personal computer at home. Aha, caught you, didn't I? Ranging from those services to shopping, banking, education, entertainment, and even connections to the network at work. GI will use this same technology to provide networking for interactive television. TVs will become interactive, and home PCs will connect to networks at very high speeds. We'll finally bridge the last mile to the home and create new categories of personal computer and television applications and services. The services provided over this GI and Novell network will be secure, they'll be reliable, they'll be easy to use and easy to manage, in every way a Novell NetWare network. The work that we're doing with AT&T, the regional Bell operating companies, and PTTs throughout the world to create Network Connect services will have a central role in pervasive computing. NCS, as we call it, will take the local area network and make it a global local area network. My favorite oxymoron. It will provide secure interconnections between any of the 2 million local area networks that run NetWare in the world. It'll do it with a phone call, no requirement for source routers. It'll make those networks appear as one. This will allow groups of people to work together, sharing whatever aspects of their network they choose to share, with little or no setup and at LAN speeds. NCS itself is based on NetWare 4.1, and it makes full use of the NetWare directory services. It'll host a range of services from network management, publishing, fulfillment, billing, Lotus Notes, and email. Remember that I mentioned that those cable systems will be in every way a NetWare network. This means that ANCS can be used to interconnect any or all of those networks. It makes all of the ANCS services available to all of the cable-connected home personal computers. It'll make all of the NetWare networks in the world available to everyone from home, from the office, or with mobile connections from anywhere. It'll make all the homes with cable-connected PCs or televisions available to the enterprise. In short, pervasive computing.
Morning, Bob. My problem isn't accessing the network, it's wading through all the data to get what I really need. Novell gave us the network. Can you guys help us use it?
Well, John, that's a very common problem. Have you ever thought about the fact that virtually every data system is a push system? Think about it for a moment. If you're an avid email user like I am, you get about 100 email messages a day. That's all the stuff that people think you want to read about. Virtually all the data systems around are push systems. Push isn't limited to the electronic mailbox. My physical one is a push system as well. While I'm here and while you're here, those are piling up back home. Data being pushed at you. Television is a push system. It's what other people think we want to see. I think that we're drowning in data while we're thirsting for information. With the information highway, the pipe's going to get even bigger and the pressure even higher. We need to balance push and pull. We'll never get away from push because push is essential to give us news. If somebody isn't out there editing all that data, finding the things that are interesting and driving it to us, we'll stagnate. At the same time, though, we need balance in the system. We need to be able to pull the information to us when we want it as easily as people can push it at us. We need to stem the tide of data that isn't meaningful to us. We also need to simplify this interface so that everyone can use it. When we want to pull information, the browsers, the linguistics, the semantic analysis, the broad network reach needs to be there. It won't replace pull. It won't replace push. It'll just balance it with pull. At Novell, we see and will heavily support two key information highways. The internet, with its thousands of information sources and many, many users, and Network Connect services that I just talked about a moment ago, will connect the local streets to these information highways. The local streets being the local area networks, the 2 million of them that exist throughout the world. In order to simplify and transparently access both of those highways and to provide great browsing, to bring document management as well as information highway publishing, Novell has been pursuing a project that we've codenamed Corsair and a browser that we call Ferret. Yes, Ferret. Corsair has a customizable user interface. It has a world metaphor, a 3D graphical interface. It instantiates services as physical objects. It works in Windows, and it will work in Windows 95, in Macintosh and in Unix. It provides exactly the same network APIs in each one of those environments so that client application developers can unlock the power of the network in the same way from every environment. Corsair includes a great browser, as I mentioned, and it starts where Mosaic leaves off. It allows you to dynamically discover and utilize information and network services wherever they are. It's fully worldwide hypertext enabled, and it allows users to reach out and attach to documents. You might think of Corsair as a nettop in the same way as you think about Macintosh or Windows as a desktop. I'd like to have us take a closer look at Corsair, and to do that, I've invited Ransom Love. Ransom's the marketing manager for Corsair, and he's going to give us a guided tour. Ransom, welcome.
Thanks, Bob. It's good to be here.
What
Bob,
do we have here?
This is the virtual world interface for the Corsair environment, both the Ferret browser as well as the information server. Every aspect of the virtual world, Bob, can be customized to fit a specific job function. We have an office here, but it could be a shop floor, could be a bank teller, and the appropriate services exposed. This interface, too, Bob, will be pervasive not only across all desktops, but across all electronic devices, as you mentioned with our partnership, set-tops and PDAs.
Handheld devices of all kinds?
All kinds.
Looks like this is my wife's office. Isn't that a picture of me?
That is your picture, and
Okay.
actually,
I hope it's my wife's office.
we love you, Bob. Every aspect of the virtual interface, as I mentioned, can be exposed for a particular job function, but also integrated into the login environment of NetWare. So anywhere in the world, when I log into the network, I can get my world. So let's go through some typical functions that we might have in a day's activities in the office. We'll come up to the newspaper and click on the stock quotes, and we're transported across the modem line on the internet to an information server at Novell.
No, this is an actual connection. This isn't fake. It's not
That's
subbed
not
out.
fake.
This is a real thing, right?
And it worked.
Oh, we're at 18 and a half.
That's great. Also, we may want to then actually write a memo or a letter or a document, so we could click on our notepad and bring up our favorite word processor, WordPerfect 6.1.
The one that just started shipping, right?
The one that just started
Yes,
shipping.
that one. Yeah.
The hypertext functionality has actually been enhanced in WordPerfect 6.1 so that we can not only make hypertext links to other WordPerfect documents, but to any document on the World Wide Web from within WordPerfect.
That's an incredible capability.
It is. We can also, WordPerfect will be enhanced to provide a turnkey authoring solution for electronic publishing as well. Let's actually click on the link, and we'll be transported again live across the modem link to a World Wide Web server at Orem, Utah.
So all we did was click on the word perfect, and that connected us out over the web.
Out over the web, and we'll very shortly here see the WordPerfect homepage.
Ferret was moving there for a moment. He's
It's
kinda,
still moving.
He's kind of loping. Yes. Paused. Yes.
14.4 is,
It's kind of slow.
it's kind of slow. There we go.
Ah, there we are. Found it. Yes.
Yes. Actually live.
All right.
Okay.
For those of you who have surfed the internet, that's a little easier, I think.
That's right. Bob, since you're down here at Comdex, your typical Monday morning executive staff meeting probably needs to be postponed.
Even if it's on Tuesday.
Even if it's on Tuesday. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay. We'll actually take a file that you wrote postponing to be sent to all of the executive staff members, and we'll take that file and drag it over and drop it on the mailbox.
There's going to be great disappointment in Utah.
I'll bet. There are tears and...
Yes, yes.
The actual document shows up as an attachment on the mailer, already attached. And now I can simply address that and send it to Cherise so she can forward it on and send that document out. And it will just take a minute. Again, this is live.
I would imagine here in a moment or two we're going to hear some muffled shouts of anguish in Utah that we're not going to do this today, right?
Right.
So when's this going to be available, Ransom?
Yeah, it will be available, and it's Ferret 95, Bob.
Ferret 95?
We'll just go on.
Okay.
Actually, we can also navigate the services available on the local network. So if we click on the door, all of the information servers are now integrated into the directory, Novell's directory. So we're going out on the NetWare network and querying those information servers, and they show up dynamically on the elevator panel on the right-hand side.
Okay, so without knowing that we moved from one to another, we're now on the local network.
We're now on the local network.
Okay.
And now to get to human resources, to retrieve a form, or we can simply click on human resources, and we're transported across the network, and we attach to the information server in human resources that they can maintain. And what we see is a virtual department with all of the information services exposed.
Ah, great. So if they want to add a new service or a new benefit or provide information, it's just there, and you can walk in and pick it up.
In fact, we have full security down to the actual file, as well as auditing who accesses that file based on NetWare 4.1 security
So the
equivalences.
authentication capabilities and security come in vitally important there.
Yes, we can actually access our benefits information and save thousands of dollars on printing out the benefits booklets. We can do it all electronic now. Let's click on the forms. We'll actually bring up the employee referral form rather than walking down to HR to get it. And
Or flying to HR to get it.
flying to HR to get it. We can fill that out now and take it back to our office, or we could actually have just grabbed the form and dragged it up and put it on our briefcase and taken it back to our office to fill out at our leisure.
Okay.
And then we could have actually come back to HR later. We could either route it back using GroupWise or email,
Right.
or we could bring it back from our briefcase and actually drop it on the mailbox in HR. So depending on my level of comfort with the applications, I can still be very productive.
Great.
Let's go back to the office and now go out onto the public network. You mentioned that we have a great partnership with AT&T, which will provide this global directory. and a secure environment for intercompany interchange. We will also extend that partnership, as you mentioned, to the local telecommunications providers.
And they're very excited about that as well.
There's tremendous opportunity. When we click on the window, we'll actually go out onto and access this information from our telecommunications provider, and we'll see our local community with all of the information services exposed.
So you get all that just by jumping out the window?
Just by jumping. That's what it feels like to navigate the internet today.
Sort of like what happened last week in Washington, D.C.
That's
yeah,
right. All of the information. All of the information is exposed in intuitive categories, like the hospital represents healthcare. There are some in the audience, including my wife, who would appreciate the shopping mall electronically.
Yes.
But because we have
blank that part out?
That's right. We could actually go to the local bank, and again we have the netware security equivalences, single login to the network, so I could see my deposits from my local bank. But let's go to WordPerfect, and we've heard about an exciting package, a portable document package called Envoy.
Right.
Let's actually go out to WordPerfect, and we'll click on the business park, and we can go through a typical yellow page activity of searching. And WordPerfect's a computer company.
Right.
In the software industry. Now, all of the companies that have registered with the local telecommunications provider, whether they are on the Network Connect services or on the internet, can register and provide a description, even advertising if they'd like.
So it's kind of a yellow pages of the network, right?
And it's all dynamic, so that it can be updated instantaneously.
So you could offer daily specials or
Daily
something.
specials.
Yeah.
You could do your product announcements live across the internet. We'll click on WordPerfect, and we'll be transported across the network and attached to an information server at WordPerfect, which they control. They can update and publish themselves, and Novell's providing all of the tools to make that possible. So if I want to go to Envoy, I can click on Envoy, and I can get a description of Envoy, competitive evaluations, price. Let's do pricing and ordering.
Okay.
We can actually bring up the form. Again, since I'm attached to the directory, all my information is contained in the directory, so I could use defaults, and my information will be filled out automatically.
It is.
Yeah.
How many things you bought this week?
That's right. My credit card is there, and so you don't want your credit card flying around the network. So we do provide RSA data encryption, but we have some problems with import and export in some countries. Since we have, again, the global directory and a single authentication, we can enable electronic commerce and electronic interchange just by the authentication, and it would show up on your phone bill at the end of the month.
So the difficulties of exporting the encryption are not a problem then?
Not with authentication. Okay. All right. Let's go back to our office.
So our resellers, for example, could set up a service like that for their customers on the network and be able to do commerce right there.
Absolutely. They can go in and use these tools and completely provide a turnkey authoring, publishing, and access environment for all of their customers. Let's now go out. Next week, you've planned a trip to Europe.
Yes.
Let's go, instead of going out of the office to locate the local services, let's actually click on the globe, and we can select what part of the world you want to go to. And we'll go to Europe.
Okay.
Since you're going to Paris, France. And we'll click on now, select the country. We're now
That ferret's faster than I thought it was.
we fed him well this morning.
Yeah, okay.
We'll actually click on France.
Okay.
And we'll be transported to France Telecom, our NCS partner there in France. And we can click on Paris.
So we're actually connected now to
Yes.
French Telecom, right? To Paris.
And now we'll bring up the services in Paris, France. And since we're using NetWare, my default language is English, and so all the information that's provided or published in English, I will get automatically. So you mentioned you might have a few spare hours. Let's go to the museums and exhibits.
Now, the first spare hour since joining Novell.
That's right. That's right. And we'll go to the Louvre, and we can actually see the information that would be available. You could actually go and pick what you wanted to see in your spare time, the very spare few moments that you have.
Okay. It's actually one of my favorite places in the world. That's great.
Bob, coming back to the office, in conclusion, the Corsair operating environment, coupled with NetWare directory services, provides not only a way to access information like other browsers that are available in the market today, but you can utilize and manipulate that data to accomplish your job more efficiently.
Oh, that's really exciting. Ransom, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Great stuff. As you can see, we're trying to make access to the network easy, to make it easy to get to discover, publish, and use information on the information superhighway. It won't be long. Ransom promises me it's fair at 95. Maybe even early 95, early harvest. And I think it'll add a very substantial dimension. With Nest, we are also making significant changes. Well, we're working with key partners like AT&T and General Instrument to extend the network's breadth. We're also adding to its depth. Novell Embedded Systems Technology, or Nest, lets hardware vendors embed the netware operating system capabilities and network connections into a wide range of equipment. That includes office equipment, computer peripherals, PDAs, telephones, TV set-top boxes. And in fact, as I said earlier, with Nest, any device with a microprocessor, even a very small one, with 50 kbytes of memory or more, and a serial connection can be networked. Any intelligent device, like slot machines. Some of you probably think they're already too intelligent. Chris Sontag and Shannon Smith, two of the key people who are involved in making our Nest program successful, will go after this in a lot more detail. Chris?
Nest is a development kit that simplifies the connection of any intelligent device, not just personal computers, to the network. Novell is taking networking deeper into non-traditional computing environments such as retail, factory, office, and ultimately the home. By attaching intelligent devices to the network, users gain access to information anytime, anywhere, with more control over those intelligent devices.
Types of devices that will be connected to the network include fax machines, copiers, and PBX systems in the office, point-of-sale terminals, PDAs, and security systems, appliances and televisions in the home, even automobiles out on the road. Each device includes a small microprocessor, an embedded operating system, and an application designed to run that device. Once connected to the network, devices can share information with each other as well as be accessed and controlled both locally and remotely.
For example, why should a vending machine owner have to drive all over town to find out exactly how much product he has in each of his vending machines? With a pervasive network and Nest in each of those vending machines, he can, from his central office, find out exactly how much stock is in each of those machines and exactly how much cash is in every box. And then he can optimize sending out each of those trucks to be able to refill those machines. This is just one example of an application for Nest. The possibilities are unlimited.
Another example, office copiers will be plugged directly into the network, enabling users to send electronic documents from their desktops directly to the copier by clicking on an icon and giving instructions through a familiar desktop interface. A Nest-enabled copier can also be monitored and supplied from a central location, allowing an opportunity to anticipate repairs and stock requirements.
For a developer, Nest is an open architecture that is extensible by both Novell and its third-party partners. It's small, it's modular, so it can scale to both small, intelligent devices as well as large-scale systems. It's fast, it's hardware independent, and operating system independent, which allows for a network connection to almost any device in any environment at a low cost. There's nothing like Nest. The development kit allows for a major increase in value to OEM products by providing network connectivity into their devices.
Nest will inexpensively extend the network to all intelligent devices, making the network universally available and hidden behind the device's applications. We don't expect to create these products by ourselves. We are working with a number of partners who are experts at building office equipment, security controls, and home appliances. We take our expertise in networking, pair it with their expertise, and together connect intelligent devices to the network.
That's the way Novell has worked over the last 10 years. networking requires partnerships. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. We know that pervasive computing and networking will be everywhere, when you're on the road, in your home, and in the office.
I think that one of the most exciting things about Nest is that it allows your product to become part of the largest installed base of networks in the world. Our product partners will provide the actual devices, embed it with Nest network connections, and our telephony, cable, and wireless service partners will provide the networking infrastructure to connect these new devices to exciting services, perhaps connecting you directly to your customers. Again, we see pervasive computing.
I'd like to ask you whether you really believe that NetWare 4.1 is indeed the operating system of the future. And especially, I'd like to ask you, what makes you think that NetWare 4.1 is that much better than Microsoft's Windows NT?
Well, Mike, other companies are clamoring to sell you the network operating system of the future. The problem is that they don't deliver the services that a network needs today. Let's go take a look. Today you need a directory so that information can be accessed anywhere, as we just saw in the earlier demo, and so that it can be secure, and so that the services can be discovered on the network. You need integrated messaging so that not only that people can talk to each other, but applications can talk to each other as well. Multi-protocol routing is essential. It makes it so that you don't have to have a local router, and it makes it so that you can connect to a wide range of legacy systems. Network management is vitally important. That's where a lot of the cost is, and we're going to talk about that a bit more here in a moment. Security. Ransom doesn't want his credit card number roaming about the network, and neither do you. The security of other information, your business information, is critical. And of course, file and print that everybody expects are there and are essential. But even here, there are significant differences. NetWare 4.1 provides compression. With the other alternatives, you get to pay for twice the amount of disk storage on your servers. And neither of them are up to the performance requirements and performance capabilities that NetWare 4.1 does deliver. Having a network operating system play with a full deck is important. And while time doesn't allow us to explore in depth all of these, I'd like to dig into two of them in a little bit more depth: network and system management and directory services. Network and system management is an incredibly important aspect of a network going forward. The Gartner Group and their research effort showed that approximately 70% of network cost, of the cost of ownership, is in administration and management, 70%. By contrast, the initial purchase price of the network operating system software is 3%. So if we can reduce the administrative and management costs, we can make a big difference. And this is where one of our focuses have been. On NetWare 4.1, we've made some substantial progress. An example here would be moving a person from one department to another is easy. It's like having the network follow you. With one input, the change in the department code, everything else moves with it. Novell's own IS department has reported an 80% reduction in the cost of moves and adds. Recently, we've been making a lot of use of that. Soon, even that single entry won't be required. The network literally will follow you wherever you are. By simplifying this administrative load, doing that with network directory services, a single logon across the entire network, and network management services, NetWare 4.1 has slashed the cost of administering your network. Metagroup estimates by roughly 25%. Customers who add those savings to the savings of not having to buy so much mass storage are seeing a 300% return on investment in NetWare 4.1. This kind of return is not found with other network operating systems. I wish I could get that kind of return. Novell will add to this capability some important new management features. The ability to manage content. what ransom just showed us is that content is going to become a very important part of networking. We'll need to be able to audit it, audit its use, deliver billing for it, and make sure that it's secured and respecting the intellectual property rights of those who generate it. You can't do this for dozens of people, much less thousands of people, on multiple sites without a global directory and complete security.
Hey, Bob, I just spent hours filling out forms for a new job. I thought the computer age was supposed to reduce paperwork.
Ken brings up an issue that all of us can relate to. Filling out form after form with the same information is a way that we've all wasted time, especially those of us who spent some time in the military. And many other people have had an opportunity to make errors entering it. I invited Paul Turner, the product line manager of NetWare Directory Services, to demonstrate how NDS can help solve this problem. Paul?
Well, Bob, employee processing is a challenge for corporations and employees. When a new employee gets hired, his information has to be updated to the Human Resources Department, to payroll, to security, and even the Information Services Group. As an employee changes departments or positions within the corporation, or even leaves to another company, that information has to be updated, changed, or deleted. If each department maintains that information separately, that can be very expensive. It also hinders the productivity of the employees because they end up being held responsible for making sure that each department is kept up to date. NDS eliminates the need to maintain this redundant information by providing a global directory that logically links all those departments together. So when a new employee gets hired, he sits down, enters in his personal information, gets a photograph taken, and says his name into a microphone. Once that's done, the Human Resources Department can access the home address and send him his benefits information. The Security Department can automatically access that employee's home phone number in case of an emergency. Also, that employee gains the security access of other employees within the department automatically, so that saves time for both the Security Department and for the Information Services Group. Ultimately, NetWare Directory Services reduces costs for a corporation and also makes new employees more productive more quickly.
Now, Paul showed us how NetWare Directory Services can help automate new employee processing. It isn't limited to that. There are literally hundreds of cases, hundreds of examples, where removing the geographic restrictions and the redundancy in entering information can improve productivity and capability throughout the company. The bottom line is that the entire company will run more efficiently because NDS gives you immediate and secure access to the information and service that you need, and gives it to you when and where you need it. You don't need to wonder where the information is. You can use the information instead of search for it. We think this is a key to pervasive computing. We all know that automating business processes is a key to business success, and that companies that quickly gather and interpret information will be the ones that survive. One of the things that Andy Grove once said is stuck in my mind, and I think says this best. There will be only two kinds of companies, the quick and the dead. Networks play a key role in the sweeping movement to re-engineer business. The network provides the infrastructure for your information systems. I think of it as a new central nervous system for your company. The critical question is, how does the user at the desktop take advantage of all this power? Especially when the desktop is already sufficiently intimidating that most people use those desktops with a recipe to get to the application they need. We think the answer lies in the integration of the applications that users already use with network services, and we call these networked applications. A very important class of this, of course, are groupware applications, the email, conferencing, shared document management, calendaring, scheduling, workflow, and forms processing. The other important set, though, and the one often forgotten about, are the personal productivity applications that each of us use to create the information that we want to share with other people. They, too, need to be connected to the information sources and connected to the people that we want to communicate with. We think that when these are properly married, that those core applications will enable people to create, to collaborate, and communicate in far better and more effective ways. We think it'll enhance the productivity of the individual as well as of the whole company. Unfortunately, many of these very basic tools are usually developed and delivered without careful thought about the networks that they depend on. Their seams show. Even very bright people get lost in those seams. Many people don't care about learning the applications in the network. They just want it to work. Novell Groupware will integrate these functions to make the network a powerful tool for collaboration and communications. Let's take a look.
Let's take the scenario that your company has automated your forms within the organization. You want to access a form, complete it, and send it to the proper person in your organization. But you can't remember where the master forms are found and you don't know what it's called. So you do a profile search on the network for forms that have the word executive and complaint in it and authored by Bob. The search shows you the form that pertains to that topic. You select that form and begin to fill it out. Notice that as I enter information, the form is smart enough to fill in other data on the form that it gets from a database, simplifying the completion of the form. Then you want to send this form back to Ken, so you hit Send. The form has been found, completed, and sent. Now, what tools did we just use? First, we used an electronic form created in Informs. When we needed to find the form, we used the Soft Solutions document management system to do a content-based document search based on a keyword. Then, as part of the form, we had a Send button which used the group-wise messaging system to send the message. We combined the power of an electronic forms package, a document management system, and a messaging system into a single tool for the user. Now, what kind of information does a user get? We get emails, faxes, voicemails, and more. Novell delivers a universal inbox into which all types of information can be received. In the inbox shown here, you see an appointment, a mail message, and a note. Here's the form we just sent. That has now become an integrated part of my communication system. Let's use GroupWise to send a message. I can't remember the person's email address, so I go into the address book to find it. We can select users and easily add them in the To and CC lists. As we integrate NetWare directory services with the address book, this directory of email users will become the same directory as that used for network users. When I say the same, I mean a single directory for both your network system and your messaging system. This common directory will be used by all of the Novell Groupware solutions. That integration will provide ease of use for end users and lower the overall cost of ownership for the IS department because your Groupware solutions are integrated with your network system, not redundant to it.
It's easy to see how Groupware tools will provide better ways to share information and improve collaboration amongst users. The network provides the infrastructure for this communication, and the GroupWise applications deliver the power of the network to the user. But what's in store for personal productivity applications in a networked world? We have seen tremendous transitions in applications. We've seen the transition from DOS to Windows, from standalone applications to standalone application suites. The next step is from standalone application suites to networked suites. At Novell, we're convinced that every application will be networked. Why? Because people are interested in using the network, not learning it. We think we should concentrate our efforts on hiding complexity rather than featuring it. The data that we need to create information is on the other side of the network, and so are the people that we need to communicate with. If we teach applications to use the network, people won't need to learn it. We think it's easier to teach several hundred applications than to teach a billion people. With our networked applications, we are beginning to make network services transparent to users. I'd like to show you an example of that, and to do so, I've asked Gordon Mella to join us. Gordon is coming to us right off of the show floor. And welcome, Gordon. Good
Thank
to see
you, Bob. Good to see you. Thank you. I'd love to show you how Perfect Office takes advantage of the power, is beginning to take advantage of the power of the network. Now, for this example, we'll use a simple example to create a memo or to perform any other common task In Perfect Office, you don't need to open individual applications or manually access the network. It's the whole idea behind getting the software out of the way of the work. Here we will simply choose a Create Memo Quick Task directly from the desktop. You'll see that Perfect Office automatically launches WordPerfect from a network server. It starts the Memo Quick Task. And then presents us with a variety of pre-formatted memo styles. Now, let's go ahead and choose the trimline style.
All right.
And we'll fill out the necessary information for the memo. We simply access the address book, which, by the way, could be located on the network server. We will then go ahead and send this memo to you, Bob, if you don't mind.
Ah, gladly.
For the subject line, we'll go ahead and type Comdex Keynote address and simply choose Keynote address.
Keynote address, yes.
And simply choose OK. Now, showing off...
Just typing a little slowly this morning.
Keep up, Jeff.
Yes. All right, Jeff.
Showing off the automatic text correction in Perfect Office. Let's type, remember the best word processor in the world is...
MS Word.
Now that's intelligent formatting.
Yes.
Now beyond simple formatting, you can see that Perfect Office can now automatically print, email, or publish the memo as a work group document. This is an example of a network application controlling not just the creation of the document, but the entire life cycle of the file. From this selection, let's go ahead and choose Publish the Memo as a Workgroup document. And what you're going to see here is Envoy launching. And our memo is automatically being represented as an Envoy file. Envoy meets a major customer need by allowing anyone on the network to view, annotate, or print any document, regardless of whether or not the user has the software the document was originally created with.
And even if they have that other word processor.
Even if they have the other word processor.
Yes.
In other words, anyone on the network can view and make annotations to this document with the fonts and graphics intact, even if they don't have access to Perfect Office or WordPerfect. Now let's go ahead and attach electronic sticky note to this memo and see how this works.
And this is part of it as well. This goes out with the document.
You bet. Right, the sticky notes, the annotations. Now, although
I think there's some people on my executive staff that are doing this right now. Little thank you notes for not having a staff meeting today.
Staff meeting today.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Now, although this is one example, using Envoy to eliminate concerns about software compatibility is an exclusive benefit of Perfect Office and begins to show the power of collaborative computing. Even network services that may have intimidated users in the past can now be accessed directly and automatically through network applications like Perfect Office. As you can see in this example, by simply clicking a button, we can map a network drive. We can change a network password, delete a network print job, or even detach from a server without ever leaving Perfect Office. It's the idea of hiding the complexity of the network rather than featuring it. With Perfect Office, users can begin to take advantage of network services without having to learn about networks.
And when does this ship?
Soon.
Soon. Is this Perfect Office 94?
Perfect Office 94.
All
you
right.
bet. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Gordon. It's great to see that applications like WordPerfect, which has helped more people than any other word processor master the creation of documents, also be able to make a big difference in the rest of the life cycle of that document. By delivering the network through existing applications, we deliver on the promise of pervasive computing.
Hi, Bob. We started deploying distributed technologies back in 1988, and as you know, many of us have bet our careers and the ranch on sustaining this very complex environment. Achieving our goal of seamless global access and empowerment of our employees has become a very costly endeavor for all of us. Our greatest challenge as we go forward and our greatest vulnerability as we go forward is achieving a level of bulletproof reliability, accessibility, and security, a level of security and so forth that we become used to in our mainframe environments. That's our greatest challenge as we go forward.
Craig, I sure agree. And your challenge is not unlike many other companies who are moving from an environment of mainframes and mini computers to PC clients and powerful servers. We see a three-step progression. In the first, you connect your PCs and local and PC LANs to the legacy systems. Second, you need the ability to choose what aspects of your application logic you want to move to those environments, and to be able to do that at your own pace. And third, you'll drive more power, more manageability, and more flexibility into those PC servers as they take on more and more of the processing burden. Your organization, Craig, needs to move gradually from mainframe-based systems to take advantage of the distributed systems running on commodity hardware. We developed a number of products and worked with partners to assist in making it possible for you to do this move incrementally. Our NetWare for SAA product connects to mainframe-based systems. You can then build client front ends to those existing mainframe applications and migrate application logic to desktops and clients and servers as you see fit. New applications can be developed from scratch as client-server applications, and those can coexist with the legacy ones that are there today. Pervasive computing shouldn't mean that you throw out what works today. Let's take a deeper look at the server side of pervasive computing. As I mentioned, there are 40 million NetWare users on 2 million local area networks, more than twice the users of all other network operating systems combined. NetWare by far has more network services than any other platform and interoperates with more legacy systems than any other. Unix provides the best application server platform, offering a robust development environment and the largest set of trained programmers in the world. Unix supports more mission-critical applications than any other platform. In total, there are 70 million users of NetWare and Unix system, making it the largest distributed systems install base by far. We think this is the right base on which to build pervasive computing services. We're not stopping here, though. We think this base can be improved and do so without sacrificing compatibility, without compromising performance. Novell is tackling this with our SuperNOS technology initiative. SuperNOS will transform NetWare and Unix into a fully distributed, modular, and fault-tolerant microkernel-based system. With SuperNOS, we will harness the power, I wish I could hire the power, harness the power of up to thousands of servers, or as few as one. All of those will seem as one single system image. That is a single operating system. You can start with a single merchant hardware-based server and grow your shared information and shared functions across as many servers as you wish. Servers that are specialized or servers that are general purpose, without change to applications. You see it as one system. So does the programmer. So does the user. And so does the system and network manager. This will result in a level of fault tolerance, of scalability and manageability and availability not seen on any operating system environment today. The best news is that SuperNOS will provide backwards compatibility for all NetWare 4.1 services and all UnixWare applications, preserving investments being made today, while at the same time preparing for the future. The three-phase path that SuperNOS will go through will be an evolution and not a revolution. This year, with NetWare 4.1 and UnixWare 2.0, we'll deliver phase one, where the symmetric multiprocessing capabilities, the ODI drivers, and the protocol stacks are all common. In 1995, in phase two, we'll share clustering, management, security, and directory services across both environments. In 1996's phase three, NetWare and UnixWare will share a common code base, a common microkernel, and fully distributed services. At that point, you'll be able to buy NetWare or UnixWare and NetWare on the same server. All the applications, all the services, all the facilities, and all the programmers can go forward without change.
Hi, Bob. My name's Gary. We move orders through here 24 hours a day, several thousands on some days, and we simply can't afford to go down. Can you help us out?
Well, Gary, your company is representative of other manufacturing organizations, of financial institutions, of reservation systems, and retail point of sales that relied on mainframes and mini computers to do their transaction processing. These organizations, many of them represented in this room, are now downsizing to client-server solutions on industry-standard server platforms. Yet the business demands haven't changed. In fact, if anything, they've gone up. High performance, data integrity, and security on huge volumes of data. If we're to provide people with the ability to act on the information that they receive in a pervasive computing world, we must provide both transaction systems that can handle the load and have the ability to use existing systems during the changeover and even beyond. Novell addresses these needs with Tuxedo, our online transaction manager. Tuxedo enables network computer systems to handle tremendous demands of multiple concurrent users of large databases. And it provides the connections to client-server environments for 36 different legacy transaction processing systems. For example, suppose that a bank has 5,000 automated teller machines scattered throughout its territory. At lunchtime, on payday, 5,000 customers attempt to make deposits all within a few seconds. Tuxedo organizes, prioritizes, and processes them accurately and responds. It makes the system respond instead of freezing or failing. Tuxedo is redefining the way that organizations process transactions by bringing the performance, the manageability, the data integrity and security and throughput capabilities normally associated only with mainframes to transaction processors on distributed open system platforms. The ability to act on information anytime, any place. Another key to pervasive computing.
As the president of the Utah Information Technologies Association, I represent 1,500 IT companies in the state of Utah. A concern I'm hearing is that Novell now competes directly with many in the developer community. These developers are asking, what happened to co-opetition?
Well, Peter, we think that pervasive computing is too big a job for any single company. And we also believe that the future brings an even greater requirement for meaningful vendor partnering. In some cases, this does mean co-opetition. In a lot of other cases, it means no-holds-barred joint development and marketing. Novell did enter the world of applications, the core set of applications in which, in each category, there are only a few significant developers. Those companies we do compete with, and we also co-opete with them. We have decided, though, that Novell is not going to do a number of things. We will not do content. We will not become a communications supplier. We will not do vertical applications. We will not be in the database business. We will not be in the desktop operating systems business. Instead, we'll work with world-class partners and competitors to address those needs. We will instead focus on providing networking and core productivity applications for individuals and for work groups. Our networks and suites are fully open. They are themselves platforms for creating applications. We welcome the contribution of others to solutions for our joint customers. Words are cheap. Let me give you a real example. Our Perfect Office suite is the first to distribute third-party applications. It's the first to integrate competitors' personal productivity applications, and in the process deliver freedom of choice to the end user. We're committed to providing software developer kits containing the same APIs that our internal developers get and give them to people at the same time those internal developers get them. We're dedicated to having an open process of enhancing those APIs. Open systems. What a concept. Together we will make pervasive computing a reality. And as in all good partnerships, those who contribute benefit. You benefit, and Novell benefits. We think that that's real partnership. Well, we've talked about a lot of things today, all of them related to networking, clearly one of my favorite topics, and how the network empowers businesses from sole proprietorships to the Fortune 50. How the network will deliver interactive services to business and the home. In short, how networks have impacted and will continue to impact the way that we work, the way that we play, the way that we learn, and the way that we live. Several weeks ago, while talking with Utah State Governor Michael Levitt, I discovered that he shares my vision of pervasive computing. The governor has initiated a program that he calls Smart Utah, a comprehensive project for networking the entire state of Utah. Novell is providing the foundation, and I ask him to relate to you his point of view on the potential of networking. Governor Levitt?
We see the 90s as a decade of networking. It's a period of time where we take disparate parts and bring them together to form a more powerful whole. For example, in state government, we're building the largest wide area network that we know of, at least, of its kind in the world. We're connecting literally all of our public buildings, all of our public schools, all of our colleges and universities, and we think ultimately we'll be able to join literally in all of our homes into one pervasive network where people can access public information, be able to take courses from universities and colleges, be able to renew a license, be able to get a permit, be able to get information from databases that they haven't before. We now have all of our public buildings online. We have our public schools. We'll be finishing our high schools in the next couple of years, and we have our colleges and universities. And we're actually delivering coursework now over a forerunner of this we call EdNet. We've developed 90 courses that make up nearly 60% of the offerings in our colleges and universities that will allow us by the end of 1996 literally to deliver into every high school in our state the equivalent of a community college. Now what that means to a student who might be off in a rural part of the state or in a high school that doesn't offer an advanced placement physics class, or who otherwise wouldn't have access to it, literally the ability to interact with a college level professor, and we're giving them credit for their college work and their high school work at the same time. I see the day when our college and university students will not be restricted simply to what's offered on their campus, but be able to take classes from other campuses within our system and outside our system. The day when MIT or Harvard or Stanford or any other university in our country or in the world would be able to offer coursework on our colleges. We're within about 3 years of having those courses offered in every one of our universities as well as our high schools. So we're making great progress.
When I asked the governor why Utah was ahead of other state governments in the implementation of this cutting-edge network technology, he talked about how quickly the state is growing, that the demand on Utah's higher education system will double in the next 15 years.
In major part, it's happening in this state because we have been driven by financial realities to seek new solutions. I can't afford to build my way out of a higher education problem. I've got to find a way to deliver it more effectively at a price I can afford. I can't afford to build transportation means that will transport all of the people that I think like to live in this state, but technology holds a piece of that. I can't possibly update all the textbooks and give my students in this state a world-class education without technology. We are economically being driven to find solutions, and technology holds the key. And I suspect that that may be part of what has driven our state in technology, perhaps ahead of others, because we have had an economic equation that has required innovation. Now we've also had the benefit of an awfully good corporate neighbor in this state, Novell, who's been able to help us take a technology commitment with some fundamental infrastructure that's been provided by other vendors like our telephone companies and our cable television companies and so forth, and then this important technology piece.
The technology piece that the governor is referring to here is NetWare, which provides about 98% of the state's networking capabilities. We're also working with the state on future plans to take government services to every Utah home.
We're finding that more and more people are feeling a sense of conflict between their professional and their personal lives. They want to feel a sense of family about them again, and yet they're drawn in so many ways. Well, in our state government, for example, we are now encouraging our employees to telecommute. It takes less space, they're more effective, we find them happier, and particularly when we start now getting into the area of being able to use televideo in order to be able to conference and so forth. So it's not only just an efficiency, but there's a whole life quality issue, and I think that's part of this sociology in the future that will be part of it.
Thank you, Governor Levitt. Networks are changing the way that we work, the way that we play, the way that we buy and sell goods, and as you can see, even the way that we govern and educate ourselves. It's a great time to be in this industry. We're finally reaching for the pinnacle, the point where, through networking, will make computing a part of everyone's daily lives, where personal computing becomes pervasive computing. By the end of the decade, I believe that our industry will reach out to 1 billion people around the world and empower them with the information and the communications that they need. Meeting this goal means raising the bar. Great technology, even fantastic technology, isn't enough. We have to make that technology useful. We have to make it universally accessible. It has to be easy. It has to be transparent. It has to be invisible. We are talking about connecting people and connecting them to the information that they need. We're making information that was once a car ride away, instantly accessible and available from anywhere. We're providing the ability to act on it right then, right there. We're profoundly impacting society as we fundamentally change how people interact with each other and with human knowledge. I think that we stand on the threshold of an entirely new frontier with new opportunities for every one of us. The implications of what we will do are vast. The task ahead is so important that no one company can or should try to do it all. We've made great progress working together. Let's take it over the top together. Thank you for the time today. And by the way, I'm B. Franken on Novell.com. I'll see you on the network.